All right. Did you send it to the group?
Yeah, I just did.
All right, cool. There's just too much to friggin' do through the TV, dude. It's crazy. All right, we're live.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. Memorial Day weekend, rainy one, or what is this? May, fantasy baseball, recap. So I'll say the first thing and foremost, I mean, is just the injuries. I've never seen this many injuries in my life. Everything, I think every team, I at least trying to think of how many. I know at least five people reach out to me in regards to, can we add an IL spot? Like, what are we supposed to do? Or just talking to Orc on the field. We played in a tournament together a couple weeks ago, and just like it's crazy. And I'm almost thinking we're gonna get to a point now where it's whoever stays the healthiest, or um, not even so much health, loses the least stars, or who could weather the storm the most for the extended period of time, um, might come out on top this year. Because I guess it's a combination of COVID and I feel like the 10-day IL is getting abused now, where some of these guys are out 5 days, they're backdating it, skipping a start, on a start. It's like crazy. Ultimately, I think that is the theme for this month. Anything on that? Like it's just crazy. I don't know. I haven't looked at every team. Are you affected greatly? I don't really know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it goes back, like we spoke about it last month. It's just um it goes back to everything that we said earlier, where guys just didn't have time to prepare as much, so they're going to get injured because they don't have that time preparation to get their bodies more in baseball mode. And we're seeing the we're seeing the effects of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. I just realized that I text you 70,000 things that were supposed to go to my wife, so that's good.
Well, that's always
Um,
nice. No, you didn't. I didn't get anything.
yeah, you did. Look through in between.
Oh, the snow roll and the yellow
Yeah.
submarine roll. Those ones,
Yeah.
the CP
All right.
order.
Yeah, that's funny. So, all right. So there's that. And then I guess just in terms of update, who anybody who didn't see the group chat, the trade evaluation sheet updated. I thought it was definitely I would say it was definitely, like, to me, more accurate, which I mean, I guess comes into play sample size, right? Statistics. Like after the first month, it's really tough to, you have some guys that get off the crazy hot starts and all of a sudden they're shooting through the list. But I mean, that comes into play where I say, like, hey, if you have a sell high or a sell low type of thing, like there's a perfect and prime example to do that. Jeez. And I think that was an advantage that some people missed on. I know you and I made a trade, which I thought at the end of the day, like you like Marquez and thought he'd get better, and I like Rue, and I just really don't like Marquez, and I thought Rue would stay at least status quo. And I mean, Lariano and Naquin are kind of a washout. Lariano's been hurt since I've got him from you, basically. I think he's played maybe 5 times, 6 times. He was out with a foot. Now I see he's got a groin thing. Ultimately, that's going to end up just being a wash deal. And I think for you and I, just exchanging players, we'd rather have, Rue's first two starts were insanely 30 pointers, and now his last two were like fives. I see Marquez's first two for you were shitty, but now his last two were in the 30s. So
Yeah.
ultimately, I think at the end of the day, it's a good trade for both of us. I get rid of somebody I didn't really want to keep in the first place, but kind of got handcuffed when I traded Fried away. And then you get someone you think is going to be on the up and up that I know you really like. So, good deal all around. But I think a lot of people missed the ball there on selling some guys that the Kyle, we'll go through some of the rosters, but like the Kyle Gibsons, who, was like ranked 6th or 7th when we went over our first meeting. There's no way he's going to be a 6th or 7th pitcher, come the next month. And so just guys, I think you get people to bite on who were, really struggling with roster construction and type of having a full team, but neither here nor there. So that's updated for May. I think it's has some more validity to it. I still have to, you and I will talk about it, and maybe even bring some other people into the league. There's some way we have to incorporate, like we used to if a star was injured and This happened a couple of years ago. I know Bob watches and he still laughs about it. And I think he brought it up even in the draft, but like Syndergaard was out for half the year and he ended up getting Syndergaard on the complete cheap. And there was a little bit of an uproar and the league where, how is that possible? Or he was only, worth a 17 or 18. Again, like I said last month, I guess the counter argument to like the Cody Bellinger is that there's no way that Jimmy is going to pay somebody to take Cody Bellinger off his hands, because ultimately that's how our trade valuation has Cody Bellinger right now. But I guess if push comes to shove and you have somebody like Cody Bellinger and you're out of it, or, I don't know, maybe like someone for Mike's we'll talk about soon is kind of on the outs of, probably not going to be able to make the playoffs. So someone like Alexander Bogaerts, if he was somebody that was out this whole year and ultimately Mike's like, well, I sold 9 guys on my team, why not just give him away for a 30th pick? It's only benefiting me. I get that point, but that's unfair to Mike. So that's something that has to be looked at. I don't know if we keep our old rule implemented for those guys where, but I don't know. Bellinger now is what you're talking all of May and first week of April. So you're talking, we would have to somehow incorporate 7 weeks of points. Like, I don't think you could statistically say that he's going to average 5 points a game or 4 points a game for 7 weeks. So something we have to look at. It's just something I noticed that like Ketel Marte for me, he's only played like a week. He's on the bottom of the list. So I don't know, something we have to keep in mind, but I thought ultimately the validity of the entire sheet at least was, Vlad at the top again, which, 31st round and he's killing it. He's like top 10 regardless. And so his evaluation being number one, and there's like a lot of guys on there that I thought just, had more validity, but did you give it a look, man? Do you have the same thoughts as me kind of on that? I don't know if everyone took a look at it. If you're not really making a deal, I guess there's no reason to really look at it, but did you happen to look at it?
Yeah, I glanced at it. There's some people that I think are, I guess, a little surprising that they're higher up on the list, and a couple of guys that are surprising that they're lower on the list. But I think it's like you said, you almost have to take each situation separately when it comes to this. Like if you wanted to trade a star that's been injured, yeah, I mean it's something that we'll probably have to develop further, just from a how do we want to handle it situation, and then I guess maybe keep it uniform going forward. But yeah, it's tough when you have a guy like Bellinger on the DL and you're out of, maybe by the end of the season you're out of it, and it's maybe you only have 1 year left to keep him and you want to just get rid of him and kind of start over a little bit, but he's valued at somewhere where he's absolutely not valued, you know what I mean? Like he's valued at as a 20th round pick, but or in that general range, and we all know that if he's healthy he's a top 2, 3, 4 round pick. So it's just hard to to like evaluate those situations, and I think we just have to kind of take them as a one-off to figure out how we want to do it going forward.
Yeah, and like I said, like ultimately, like I don't think anybody in their right mind. I think we have a pretty good knowledgeable core in our group. Like no one is going to be like, yeah, I'll give you a 30th round pick to take Bellinger off my hands. So maybe that's how it ends up being avoidance. You would have to be pretty dumb to trade a star and have to pay to trade a star. So I don't know. Maybe that's the answer, but I at least thought that the sheet was more valid than it was in the first month, which I guess is, like I said, comes with hot starts, bad starts. And everything in between. All right, so without further ado, let's start. So after this week, dead last, can you share your screen and pull up Mike? He will be 1-7 when this I guess comes out or is not live or rewatchable. Yeah. So let's see. So, I mean, I was at if you could just do the show stats to all too. So his only win came at the hands of taking me out. He got a no-hitter up. Yeah, he got a no-hitter from Kluber. Ultimately, I think he beat me by 13 points, something like that, maybe a little bit more. You really, if he doesn't get the no-hitter, even if he gets a complete game shutout, we're talking 40. I beat him by like 60, or no, I beat him by 53. So, look, if you're going to score to beat me, you got to score at least 600. So it's looking like if you score 600 points in this league, you'll win 99 out of 100 matchups. If you score over 700, you're going to win. You should win 100 of 100. So I score over 700, get beat by a no hitter, and that's Mike's lone win so far. Let's see. So I'll just say so his. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so his strength of schedule coming up is 15 and 17. So he has the fourth easiest strength of schedule in the month of June. So I ultimately think this is the month for Mike to really determine, like, can I get back into things? Can I make a run, or is this kind of it? He's actually, I don't know. I would have to see if there's like a team total point average, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's actually sixth in the entire league in points scored. And he's had the most points scored against them. So a little bit unfavorable luck there, where he's kind of in the middle of scoring. I guess the no hitter, if he doesn't get the no hitter, he's still sixth in total points. So he's getting buried by people by a good amount. You're second, actually. So and he's even getting almost 100 points, a little under 100 more. But you and Mike are both above, far and beyond really what everyone else is getting scored against him. He's at 5.051 and you're at 4.963, and then the next 1, 2, 3, 4 guys are in 4,700. So you guys are both getting a ton of points scored against you, but he's scoring a decent amount. So I mean, at having the fourth easiest schedule in June, I think this is really the month where he determines whether it's time to sell or he can get back in it. We're at a point in the standings as we kind of go up here where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 6 people that would be getting in right now are all in a 5-way tie with the same record, and then I'll be 6-2. So you will be 3 and 5. You're only 2 out. Max only 2 out, which is nothing really that crazy. But Mike at 4 games out. Could you make up 4 at this point? I guess so, but tough. So like looking over his offense here, really not terrible. Like Kevin Newman, I guess, is, Tavares. I don't know like what he's at -5. So maybe he just got called up. Don't really know much about him. The offense is not terrible. Can you bring me to the staff? Yeah, Badu's not great. So staff like Paddock, it's 14.5 is pretty terrible. Let's see what else here. You have Matt's at 19.9 is not awful. Morton at 18 is pretty good. So you got a bunch of people here that are really not bad. Like the team's not terrible. Kluber probably out for the year. You're not going to really see a good like statistical showing for him. You want this?
Oh no, I'm just watching.
Oh yeah, here you could take this down if you want to be able to
okay.
sit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this Big O making a guest appearance here. So Gibson, like he's not going to be a 22-5 pitcher. Yeah, if you're staying here though, you just gotta keep the sound off.
Oh, okay. Wait, it turns on the side.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's up down on the side. Yeah.
Don't bother.
What's up, Big O?
Yeah. Pause. Say what's up.
Hey, how are we doing, Steven?
Good. How are you?
So Gibson at 22.5, he's not going to stay there. Kluber, I don't know if you take out that no hitter, he actually was starting to look good, but I mean, Mike's team is still not bad. I don't know. Charlie Morton's probably passed. Matt's, I don't know. Is he going to throw that well for the long of the season? Wasn't able to do it for a long time.
Matt's is one of those guys where we were talking earlier about sell high. Matt's started off the season really well. First couple.
Yeah, he was at 26 at one point, right? Like
he would have been a perfect sell high guy. But
and like Alex Wood, somebody offered me a trade the other day. Alex Wood for Goldsmith because I have Gurriel in my first base slot and he's like killing it this year. And I turned it down. I don't know. I don't really trust Alex Wood. Herman's been better since he came back from the call up. I noticed this. I have Ohtani in my other league too. Like, there's no way he's only averaging 2.4 a start. Is that really possible? Like
I don't know.
I noticed they separated them, and it's like it says 4.8, and then on my offensive side, does he have the correct points on the offensive side? So he's grayed out because he has him in the pitcher slot. So I don't know. So I'd have to look at my other team in my other league. But like they actually
honestly, this is probably his Yeah, I don't know. This has to be his batting stats, right? But how could he shouldn't be only averaging 2.4 on the offensive side, should he?
No, he's killing it, dude.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
like
That's
my
what I'm
best.
saying.
He's like at 6'7" for me in the other league. I mean, the other
Yeah.
league's a very home run based too, but
Maybe they're
I don't
like
know.
doing something.
So
Yeah, it's something weird. I don't know.
yeah, it is weird. I noticed it the other day and I just didn't know. I thought they finally separated his batting and hitting, but I don't know.
Well, here,
Yes, he like
6.2.
6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Really weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. Mike's team is weird. Like I feel like his team should be doing better. I don't hate this team at all. I really don't. I guess Paddock's just not having that great of a year. I mean, Lynn's back to kind of where he should be. Woodruff is 26 is a great. I mean, that's where he should be. And he's got a lot of guys that are performing here. It's weird that he's 1-7. I mean, I guess the bullpen is like, I don't know why some of those guys need like to go. I mean,
Yeah.
Pujols,
I mean,
like
I think this team might honestly be. I know when we spoke about him last month, we didn't really like his team at all, and then it almost looks like this could be just a lot of bad luck. We already
yeah.
mentioned that he's number one in points against. We'll get to me, who's number two, but I feel like I kind of like this team better than my team at this point.
Yeah, and he's not, and he's like really like Brandon Nimmo's not really a loss. I guess Gibson's kind of a loss. Kluber is kind of a loss, but like
Springer
Springer, I
too.
mean,
Yeah.
Springer hasn't played all year. Biggio's
Yeah.
been terrible. Reyes like at 3-1, like I'm not going to be griping over the fact that I don't have him. Kepler's a loss, but that was today, so it's not like he's
Right.
been fighting without Kepler. So I don't know. Like he's not really fighting an injury bug. I guess it's just he's bad luck. Like I would have to let me see real here quickly. I would have to go like how badly is he putting up 600s and not let's see.
I hope I can hold on to my lead against them this week. I'm at 55 right now.
Yeah, no, you have it. So like he lost the first, he put up well that's the elongated week. So week 2 he puts up 417. You deserve to lose that. You're down by he lost by 150. Week 3 he throws up 581, loses by 40. Week 4 he loses by 8, puts up 563. Like you should, if you put up 550 or higher, you should be winning 9 of 10 times. So that's 2 hard luck losses. Week 5 he throws up only 468. I mean, and then his opponent only throws up 530. You kind of deserve to lose that one. Matt in week 6 he throws up 644 and O'Rourke threw up 662.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
unlucky.
this is a lot of bad luck actually. So this will be so last week or last month we talked on the recap about Jimmy and O'Rourke, how O'Rourke would fight through the changes and his month would be interesting versus a really a good schedule.
Yeah.
Or Jimmy against a really good schedule, or could he fight out the injuries he was dealing with a bad schedule and where they would end up? This is the team that I'm going to be seeing what they're doing. But also a big month because, like I said, like you're 4 out. If we get to July and you're still 4 out, you're probably
Probably done.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
because
mean,
then at
this
that
will be
point,
big, but
there's really only like 5 or 6 weeks left or probably more like 7 weeks left. But you got to go. You pretty
Yeah.
much have to go 6-1 in those last 7 weeks if you're 4 out in July or in August
Yep.
or
Yeah.
July.
And then the deadline is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So essentially 2 months away. So that'll be good. That'll be cool that we'll end up having our next show or our 4th show in the July recap show will probably be on trade deadline day. So that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some stuff will be flowing there. So that's something to look forward to. Yeah. So, I mean, like here, like he only puts up 465 against you this week. You deserve to lose that. But then there's 3 pretty hard luck losses, 581, 563, 644, especially the 644. You're going to win 99 out of 100 times, maybe even more than that.
And then honestly, if he didn't get the no hitter, he would have scored 680 or whatever against you and lost too. So that would have been another hard luck loss. So he almost got one of those lucky losses back. You know what I mean? From the lucky no hitter on or whatever. So it evened out a little bit there, but still, I mean, I think he probably should have 3 wins at this point at least.
Yeah, interesting. So definitely one of the teams to watch. I liked his team in the our preseason, recap, and I said, he kind of, we went over the sales and stuff, and the judge and situation with keepers, and might kind of really, if mathematically, even if that's two average players, which is not in the first or second round, anything can happen. But I mean, he lose that on 700-800 points there. It's brutal, but now it's kind of been hard luck. All right. Next up is next up is my father. He'll be 2-6.
2-5.
2-5. Yep. Oh, thank you. Perfect.
Well, if he's gonna, I don't know what his score is now. But
Yeah, no, he's up right now. Yeah. So what? He has 6 losses, doesn't he?
Well, Mike was just 1-6. So, he's 1-6. You said 2.
Yeah. So he'll be
2-6. He's 1-6.
Yeah. All right. So my dad will be
he's
2
up by 100. So yeah, he'll be 2-6 after.
Yeah. So he'll be 2-6. This is a big win. We'll talk about it. I don't like Jimmy's team at all. I just don't. And we'll get there, but beating Jimmy, who's I think tied for second, or there's like a 4-way tie. This is a big win. I know my dad, one of the definite proponents of like really, really getting just destroyed by injury. So if you want to scroll down, I know I helped him out last week, but like he's got Brandon Belt IL, Boat on the IL. Belt is in it, is a 3-point player. Boat is whatever. Dahl is whatever. But Moustakas has, every time he gets going, he's back on the DL again. So I mean, 3-0 is not really probably the player he is. He's more of a 3-5, probably 4 player. But
absolutely.
Yeah, every week he starts, he's back on. Conforto's a huge loss. The whole Mets offense hasn't really got going yet, but I mean, that's a massive one. Alonso was tied with Aguilar for they were both top 20 in our God, I always have to remember to go backwards. In our April evaluation, he's out. De Jong, that's somebody that you rely on, that's going to get you maybe a home run a week, or 1 week he's going to hit you 4 and may not, whatever. And then Cabrera 3-7 at 3 position eligibility. That's a big loss. And then if you go to his rotation, up until last week, Strasburg was out. Who else? He had another. What is that? What does BAME stand for? Bereavement. Oh, geez, I don't know what happened there.
Either he had a kid or someone in his family died. Unclear how. Someone in his family probably died.
Yeah, Jesus. He had like a really nice start yesterday too. And like Lazardo was probably a good loss. I see now he's come back going to the pen, so I'm gonna have to talk to my dad about that, because he's gonna have to drop him. I guess he could throw him in the pen if he wants. I don't know. But like all these pitchers are basically brand new. We did together Pivda, Brubaker, Ray, and however you say, UC or whatever. All of these guys, we got rid of 4 guys that he had on the IL. So he really had 1, 2, 3, 4 before we replaced them. Lazardo 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 guys in the IL. I mean, you just can't like win like that. It's just brutal.
Especially when some of those guys are, like, if you go back in our picks, I don't know if any of these guys were keepers, but Moustakas, Conforto, Alonso.
Yep, Alonso's a keeper.
Guys that are going in the top 12 rounds ish, something like that, 10, 12 rounds. So if you lose 5 of your top 10 picks, or 4 of your top 10 picks, you're not,
And then Strasburg was on the DL till he has 2 starts, I think. My dad asked me about that, if you should activate him or not. So like, that's another. So that would have been 14. So for most of May, my dad's got 14 guys in the DL. And if you go up, there was 2 guys that he ended up. Ian Happ was on the DL because he after that collision. So he looks like he just
Rendon was hurt for a little bit.
Rendon was hurt, just came off. So I mean, you're talking like these are his top players that. So now we're in the 20s on the DL, which that's just insane. I mean I know where our rosters are deeper than usual, but as you'll go along in these not standings, as our team recaps, you'll see there's multiple teams with 22 more guys in the DL. So just go up and just let me just take a look. Like, let's see, Perez. Posey is just having a ridiculous year. There's a guy in our other league that just talks so much shit. He's so obnoxious, and he like picked up Posey in the wire as if like he did it on purpose, but he really did have 2 catchers, and he just never stops talking about it. So anyway, Aguilar 4-5 is awesome. Strudel, I liked him. I had to drop him because he just doesn't play enough for me. When I have a backup catcher, I like to make sure they're getting reps. Segura is fine. Galvis is fine. Shortstop, and I've been trying to trade for one friggin' forever. No one's got one for me. So I mean, a 3-0 this year is like is a saving grace because second base and shortstop is awful this year. Third base is awful this year too. Rendon, like we just mentioned, been out. Turner's had an awful month. I have him. I was starting him for a while over J-Ram. J-Ram got hot. I put him in, and Turner has done nothing. Like I picked Turner up, and he was averaging like 6.2 in the other league, and he's down to like 4.2. I actually almost just dropped him. So for him to be 3.6 here, he was probably in the sevens when my dad got him, and I mean, that just tells you he's literally done nothing. He did nothing in like nothing.
Yeah.
That's a massive, massive drop off. Bichette is having a great year, killed the Yankees in the series last week. Like, I think he had a home run in every single game. Edman is, I mean, for position eligibility, especially the shortstop thing is massive. I know my dad's been getting a lot of trade offers for him. He's really not movable with that eligibility. Rosario, 3-2 should be playing way better. Ian Happ has been terrible for my dad, but concussion symptoms. Garcia is not ownable. Peterson's just not doing what he did in the minors, or he was out for a while too. Peterson just came back, right? Yeah. So that's ridiculous. Garcia's getting hot. I saw he's got 3 straight games of home runs. He had one today, so that will be updated. I mean, Upton, my dad just picked up to fill in. So, I mean, to me, this is just like you got Yandy Diaz, Renfroe down here. So, I mean, this is just so many freaking injuries. The rotation. Let's see, like Strasburg, I mean, he hasn't really had a shot to do anything. Barrios has been, for his style, not good. Yeah. Keuchel, again, not good. Like, he's not what he used to be, but like to be a 15 points unownable. So, I mean, that's a keeper. So you really can't do anything there. Means has been awesome. And the rest of these guys he had to add, basically add in free agency to all those other guys be on the DL. So, I mean, they're pretty formidable. I don't know. I haven't really looked for a starter in a little while, but I don't think any of these guys really are replaceable waiver wire wise. So, I mean, but this right here from, Ray down kind of, I would say is, Ray down with the Strasburg, Keuchel, and Barrios not living up to it. I'd say right here the rotation is the scoring. And let's just see. So, I think my dad was last in points scored. I think. So just in terms of strength of schedule, he has the 3rd hardest schedule coming up in June. Yeah, so my dad is second to last in points scored, 4,424. And then points against. He's had the 8th least points scored against him, so he should have a decent amount more wins. But I mean, there's just too many injuries to compete. Anything you want to add, bud?
No, it's just too many injuries to compete. And then guys that, a couple of your guys that you're expecting to be stars who haven't gotten hurt really just aren't performing. It's really just bad luck. This is
yeah.
This is bad luck.
Yeah. Okay. To you'll be 3 and 5. I told you not to give up. All right.
So slow.
That's all good, man. So actually, no, you're not next. You have more points. So McIndoe's next. If you could go to him real quick.
Yep.
Okay. McIndoe really struggled. I think he went 0-4 this month. So let's see. He has the least point score at 4,300. It's pretty bad. And he has 4th most points scored against him. So, I mean, like if you have the least points scored, you're not going to do much. 4th most points scored against you he has 500 more points scored against him than he scored. That differential is never going to be successful. let's see, Odor, like he's not ownable, stinks. Urias stinks. Villar is terrible. Dickerson, awful. Taylor, Seth Brown, Dominic Smith. I mean McCutcheon. So I mean, right there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys on the offense. And how many do we have total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
16.
8, 9, 16. So half of his offense is not ownable. But I mean, again, here we go. Like I see a Raz there, a 3-6 player DL. Hayes, 3-9 player DL. Eaton, 2-6, whatever, I don't care. It's his prospect player. Seager on the DL, 4-0. Buxton, 5-6 on the DL. Pollock, 2-8s, kind of whatever. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 stars that he's missing out on. So if you take out 8, so now we're talking 4 guys not ownable. Go ahead, give me some more. And pitching wise, Jordan Hicks is whatever. Patino is his prospect guy. That's whatever. Griezmann is not really, I wouldn't be holding on to him. So that's whatever. But Kershaw, that's Kershaw now. Greinke's having a down year. Hendricks is starting to bounce back. He was down at like 11 or 12 for a really long time. Hold on 1 second. You could take over and talk about his team real quick.
Sure. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Hendricks, he was really bad to start the year. He started coming on now. Max Fried is just not doing what he did last season. Only averaging 15 a game. I think he was injured for a bit though. So he is probably, I'll just pull up his player profile here. But yeah, he was out for a little while. So he's sort of bouncing back. His last 4 starts were all above 20. So he's actually probably averaging about 23, 24 within those last 4 starts. So, definitely on the up and up there. Boyd, he's one of those guys that I feel like is always talked about as a really good starting pitcher. And he just is not lived up to that hype. But I feel like every single year it's the same thing. You hear about him. Matthew Boyd. You talk about the Yanks. I think the Yankees are looking into him to try to make a trade for him. But like, is he really a guy that's going to bolster your rotation, both from a fantasy perspective and from a real life perspective? Not really. I mean, he's just kind of like an average guy. Trevor Rogers, I'm sure he was picked up off the waiver wire, but he's having a really nice season. DeSclafani, same thing. Probably a guy that we didn't think was going to be that good. And then there's that scrub Bumgarner, who I dropped his ass, and now he's back to being total ass like he was in the beginning of the year. So yeah, I mean, look, it's a pitching staff that's really not very good. Or they're guys that are slightly underperforming, but I mean, even still, like we're saying, Kershaw, this is kind of what he is. He's sort of like that low to mid 20s guy. He's not a high 20s to low 30s guy anymore. Even Hendricks, as healthy, he's more of like a low mid 20s guy. Greinke's, this is kind of what he is. He's a 20 guy. Again, we touched on Boyd. He's kind of that, late teens, early 20s type guy. So there's really no standout here in this rotation at all. There's a couple of solid guys and then a couple of like guys. But I mean, like you said, even on the DL, he doesn't have anybody on the DL that's really like causing him an issue with this rotation. It's just not a very good rotation.
Yeah. And I think Boyd, prime example, like he was like top 20 in the trade evaluation sheet in April. And I told everybody he's a notorious player who has a massive first half. He had a massive April and now he's digressing. So, I mean, he's somebody you could have literally sold to somebody for a bunch of dudes. And now he sits on your team and he basically dwindles. But I mean, this rotation's just not great. And he has a bunch of stars offensively that are hurt. And so now you're talking about, you have 8 shoes or holes to fill on offense and the rotation's just not good, like you said. So this is not looking good. This is, if Mike ends up getting hot here or getting, I guess, whatever, better baseball luck, him and McIndoe might be switching positions. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at that. All right. Next would be you, 3 and 5, but you beat McIndoe in points. That's how we do our head to head. If you have a tie, it's most points scored offensively. Let's see. So you have the hardest schedule by a pretty wide margin coming up in June at 21 and 11. Nice. So yeah, that's going to be tough for you. You had a good month, right? 2 and 2.
Yeah, no, it'll be 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
If
I
I
told
if I
you.
hold on to this, it'll be 3-1.
Yeah. So I told you not to pack it in. So let's see. You have points for. You scored the third least points.
Yeah.
But
I
there's
started off really, really poorly.
yeah.
So I think over
But there's two
the
guys
last month
that
I'll probably
are
yeah, the last
within
month though, I'll
like
probably like mid pack.
70 of you. Yeah, there's two within
Yeah.
70 of you. So I mean, you could literally flip flop to what's that? One, two, three, four.
Fifth.
You could flip
Yeah.
flop to fifth. Yeah, with and as we talked about with Mike, you and Mike stand alone, really far apart. Like there's one, two, three, four guys in 4,700. There's one, two in 4,600, but that 46 is almost at 4,700. So you're talking one, two, three, four, five guys that are kind of beneath you guys, but they're separated by you guys by like 250 to 300, which in a weekly point league that's a lot of points. You're talking 75 to right. That'd be 75 times, yeah, that'd be about
That's seven. Yeah.
77 points, yeah, per week more than everybody else. So that's a ton. So again, we had talked about last month, bad luck and what you could do with it this or the month prior in May. You turned into a 3-1. 2 games out is really nothing, especially what would be big here for you is that a 21-11 strength of schedule. That means you're going to be playing, I would assume, everybody that's in front of you. So to make up those 2 games, you just got to beat some of these teams that are 5-3, and then you flip the script on them. Let's see, Sanchez sucks. Scope Herrera just got recalled up.
Yeah.
So you got some holes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like six. There's like 6 offensive holes I see. Ozuna he's in deep shit. He's probably done for the year.
Yeah.
Voigt, I would think is probably done for the year too. Story, I just saw that happen. What happened to him? I just saw like he was fine, then he got an MRI, then the MRI said nothing, and then it was more
It's on
serious.
it's elbow inflammation. So if that's a Tommy John situation, that's not good.
That would be a massive blow.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, look, yeah, for you it's like offense, and it just sucks because this is like the one year where I know we talked about in our first show is that there's just nothing on the waiver wire offensively.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Winker's just been Naquin's down to 3-0 for you. That stinks.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, that's all right. Like we said before with that trade, it's Laureano and Naquin are sort of a wash, and then we just flip pitchers that we both like a little better than the other. We each like the other person's pitcher a little bit better, so it was more of that.
You got a couple of guys down here on your bench that you'd probably be playing if it was any
so
other day.
So it happened today where they either weren't starting or they got postponed or whatever it was. So today's my starting lineup for today was really just because of circumstances of who was playing and who wasn't playing, and whatever.
Yeah, so that's actually is not. Yeah, so maybe you got like 4 holes. All right, show me your rotation.
Yeah, my rotation's actually picked it up a little bit. I know
like Marco. I saw that Miley comes back tomorrow.
Marco comes back on Tuesday. So
okay, so that's good. Like you need that. Let's see, Gray stinks. Martinez stinks. Richards, I picked him up to replace Miley too. That's kind of funny. Yeah. We did like the same move. It looks like actually, right? I mean, Hill he's been really good actually. So I mean, your bullpen is pretty solid too. Neris could be better, but like these other 3 guys got to be top.
Yeah, there's not much else out there for me to get.
Yeah, those 3 got to be tops in the league. Has Gray turned it? You got to get rid of Lamet, dude. He's killing you.
I know. I don't know what to do with him though. But the moment I drop him, he's gonna start.
Yeah, but the problem is, dude, is that when he starts for you and he gets 6, like you're automatically in a shit show because somebody else, even if they have a terrible start and their guy gets 14, you're automatically losing out 8 points. Like yesterday he started, he got 6 points. Like, this is Gray?
Yeah, this is Sonny Gray.
I almost traded for him. I might go back and see if he'll do that. Guy will do that again. Okay.
He has really a couple of really nice starts in here, but then he sandwiches it with a 7 and a 14. It's like
strikeouts are down a lot, huh?
I know. He's definitely not right. He's still. And I think, look, I'm going to attribute this, give it a couple more weeks. I think it's partially that he missed so much time in the off season. He didn't, his was even more exaggerated than most people's. Abbreviated off season because he obviously started the year on the DL. And coming back from a back injury is not exactly ideal for a starter. So I'm going to give it a couple more weeks, and I think this number will start popping up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the only guy on my roster that's really been who I thought he is Bieber,
Yeah, he's a
in
stud.
terms of starting pitchers, and Marquez has been turning it around too. So those two guys are going to sort of
Yeah,
anchor
I
my
traded you
rotation.
Marquez. He was 13-4, so 18.
Yeah,
That's a pretty vast improvement.
yeah.
Who are you getting rid of here? What two
So
guys?
Martinez is gone, and then it's going to be a decision between Richards and Gray, whoever I want to get rid of for those
And you're
two.
just
For
gonna
those
hold
two.
Lamette?
I don't know what to do with it. When he's
Yeah.
healthy, he's a top 15 starter, but like I don't know what to do.
You're
I
almost
don't know what to
better
do.
off. I mean, I know we're on our freaking group chat, so that sucks. But if I were you, I would drop him and then I would really monitor him, like set up notifications through Roto
Yeah,
World, almost like if you were doing the virtual horse thing. And
yeah,
then when it says like they're actually going to let him throw more than 3 innings, I would just pick him up and drop one of these
yeah.
guys because
That's
you
fair.
can't. He keeps giving you people get saved like 6 is like a really, really bad start, and you're not even getting the option. Like he's basically
Right.
throwing long relief for you. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
it doesn't
absolutely.
look
Yeah,
good on paper, but the way we do our head-to-head points on the sheet, you're getting screwed every single
yeah.
time he
No, you're
pitches.
right. Yeah,
You
you're
know,
absolutely right.
and that's why people complain. Like people complain if somebody has somebody on the IL in the starting rotation because that's not getting listed on their sheet, so they're getting
Right.
a bonus from the other team, and that you're essentially just giving up a start.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the fact you're getting Gonzalez and Miley back is pretty big. Go when you have to go for a run of 21-11 here in
Yeah,
June.
absolutely.
So okay, all right. So I mean, that's good. It's a good job by you, 3-1. Did you have an easier schedule this month, or is
I think I
that
was in the mid. I think I was like in the
in the
middle.
middle? Okay,
It wasn't. It was. I think I was like sixth, like the sixth hardest. So it was. I
okay,
think everyone I was facing was. I think my record against ended up being something like 8-8 or 8-9 or something. So like everyone was sort of, in the middle of the road. I didn't face any of the top teams. Like I had faced you already. I had
right.
faced. I forget who. Like in the first 3 weeks, I think I faced you, Soriano, and somebody else. Like those first 3 weeks. So I faced like the top three teams the first 3 weeks. So
Okay,
I got some of those out of the way, but now they're coming back around. So that's
okay.
what it's for next month.
Okay. Next up would be Jimmy. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way tie for second. All the next 5 will be 5-3, including Jimmy. And then just based on points, this is where they should land. I don't know if they incorporate the week of, so I don't know. Could be off by a couple
I
places,
don't
but
think it doesn't have the week of
okay.
involved
All right. So it'll be roughly like this, but neither here nor there. All 5 of these guys will be 5-3. So this week's a really, really bad loss for him. I don't like his team. I don't know if he likes his team or not. I know he had texted me and said he would definitely not finish last. And he's clearly proved me wrong there. I had put him last ultimately because of his injuries. But let's see, he beat me and I put up 600 something. That was the week I had we'll get to my team, but my team is just devastated by injuries. And I would say that one thing I'll note too, is there's a lot of teams in the league like O'Rourke, who's done a really, really good job weathering injuries. I think he was 3-3. No, could that be right? No, that can't be right. He was mid pack. I think he was 2-2, and he's 5-3. So he goes 2-2 again. But that's still with the guys he had hurt. He went 2-2. I go 2-2. That's not really weathering the storm all that well. Could have done a better job with that. So my team is one of the teams that's faltered a decent amount in weathering some of these injuries. But so Jimmy definitely took advantage of me in that one, I know, but I'm pretty sure he was 3-1. So he ends up going 2-2 also. So, and one of those is literally because I had no one. So, I don't know. He shouldn't be 1-3, but he went 2-2. So Tucker Barnhart, great. Freeman, Santana, 5-1. Santana, we talked about that in our group chat and draft day. Like I just couldn't decide if he'd do something, but he's
Yeah.
clearly having a good year in Kansas City. Polanco, Cronenworth, who's literally the identical player to me. I can't believe when I watch him, I literally see myself. It's insane. Suarez is still just terrible. Fuentes, I don't know why he has Suarez or Fuentes in. Lindor is kind of starting to pick it up, but 3-1 is just awful for him, man. Fletcher, Meadows, Herrera just got called up over the whole domestic thing. They finally, I guess, gave in, so to say. Castellanos has still have 5-0 has cooled off a little bit. I have him in my other league. He's just
I mean,
not.
it
It's
wasn't
sad.
possible.
It's hard to say cool. It's hard to say cooled off when with how hot he was. Like he's still hitting well, but he's not. He's not doing what he did before. I think he hit like 8 bombs in the month of friggin' April, which is
Yeah, there's no way to keep up that pace.
yeah. So I mean, 5-0 is he's still one of the top players in the league. Bellinger came back yesterday. I also have him in my other league. And then, Vaughn, Beatty, Canna 3-7 is good. So, I mean, he's got two. I think we talked about his outfield last time, too, like 3 outfielders that need to be replaced, 2 offensives. That's 5. Brian Hayes played in 2 games. I can't really get on him for that. Swanson, I dropped. He sucks. Navarez has been there's another guy who's just been awful since he came back. He was hurt for a really, really long time. He was actually outplaying Will Smith, and I was playing the Navarez over Will Smith. He got hurt. He has got like maybe 2 hits since he came back from the DL. So that's just somebody I've been following. I actually dropped him this week and had to you have to pay for it when you get to a certain amount. But anyway, neither here nor there. So definitely 5 or 6 replaceable guys offensively. Let's see Ian Anderson is not performing. Musgrove is really bumped up by the no-hitter. Pablo Lopez, I always forget how many guys Jimmy and I have the same. Like Lopez is like got to be. He's on my list of like Marquez. It's just obnoxious guys to own that I'll never pick again. Like he will literally throw 5-6 innings of like 2-hit ball with like 8 Ks, and then they'll let him come out in the 6th, and he will get friggin' shelled for fucking 8 runs. And you're like, okay, well, there's another 10. Right. Or vice versa. He'll give up like 6 runs in the first inning, and then he will literally strike out 11 guys the rest of the game. It's like, it's so obnoxious, especially in the other league where you get like, it's -2 for every earned run. It's like he just gets buried. So I mean, 18-9 for our league is pretty standard, but like that's like free agentable. Very obnoxious guy to own. He'll never be on my team. Corbin has been atrocious. He's a keeper, can't do anything with him. Flaherty could be a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah,
Gilbert, what's up? Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, it's solid, but he's a little bit of a better pitcher than that. Gilbert, I don't really know much about. I'm guessing he's a rookie and just got called up.
I would guess as well.
I've never even heard of this guy.
Either have I. Yeah, it looks like he looks pretty young in this picture, so I would assume that
he's got pretty good flow. He might be good.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I guess he's trying to take a flyer on that. Rodon has been. I mean, look, everyone's been great against the Yankees, but he throws a no-hitter. Usually after a no-hitter, like Means got shelled the next time out. I don't know what Musgrove's done after his, but like Rodon, like he the next time out was against the Yanks, and I think he struck out 11 or 12 against us. Like what he's 13. Yeah, like ridiculous. He pitched well against St. Louis, obviously. After that, so he's been great after the no-hitter, so that clearly hasn't affected him. He was one of the first or second one to throw his, so he's been really good. He has good stuff. For him, it was always control and finding the zone, but I mean, hey, maybe he found something. He's been good. Minor, like he's just not an ownable pitcher. I saw he just got picked up by him. I think Gallen, I said this from Jump Street, he's my keeper in my other league, and I thought he was going to get Tommy John before the season even started. He milked it, Tanaka style. Tanaka came out on the front end of that for us for the last 3-4 years, however long we had him. Actually, we had him a lot longer than that. Seems shorter, but this guy's going to get Tommy John soon. It's just a matter of when. The fact that they keep telling me that he's throwing off ground, he's throwing off the mound, blah blah, he's done. You won't see him again. So that's a massive loss for Jimmy, massive loss for me in the other league. Severino, I saw now he needs another month. Syndergaard is also shut down for a month. So a lot of the guys that we said like Jimmy is going to be getting back and replacing the likes of Mike Minor, and I can't really replace Corbin. I don't know if he would get rid of Lopez for one of these guys, but are now extended to be out further. I don't know if we're going to see Mackenzie Gore this year, like the way just they're handling Lamet or whatever, and then like the way they're handling Clevenger and slowing him down. And there's somebody else too that's in that rotation. Like I don't know, they have a crazy short leash. Like they're in like protection mode to the fullest. Like there was a guy that the other day that was out for like Dominique and I were laughing, irritated by their eyelash. and they sat out for the game. I swear to God, Dominique and I were laughing about it. Like the Padres you're out of control with the whole friggin' protection thing and resting guys. We thought the Yankees were bad because no one can play more than 5 straight games, but this is next level. So I don't know. His team is actually, I think I was a little bit down on them because like I don't like Musgrove, I don't like Lopez, I don't like Corbin, don't know much about Gilbert. There must have been somebody else there that I also didn't like that he probably dropped. I don't like Minor, but at least like I guess since Musgrove and Rodon are holding down, where they are, I like his team a little bit better this month than I did last month and in the preseason. What are your any?
We have 2 guys, and then you can even count Flaherty in there as well. I mean, Flaherty, when you have 3 like solid guys for starters that are going to probably get you 25 plus a game.
Yeah.
And I know Flaherty's slightly below that, but I mean he's basically at that 25 number. It helps to just solidify your rotation in general. And then these other guys pop up with, I mean, Corbin, like we said, has been awful, but even Ian Anderson, all right, if he throws in a 20-point game there, it's not killing you,
Yeah.
Whereas, Corbin's throwing in a 12 or a 13, that's kind of killing you. But yeah, I mean, when you have 3 cornerstone pieces in your rotation and they're really doing very well, your pitching rotation really is never going to suffer too badly. So yeah, I think this is a pretty solid team. Like we mentioned, Lindor is making a little bit of a comeback. But this 3-1 is really low for him. Everyone else is pretty solid. I mean, Suarez is bad. He's not living up to that couple of years ago when he hit those 35 bombs or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was sort of just like an aberration for him. He was awful last year and he's awful again this year. I guess the outfield could be maybe possibly a little bit better, but I don't know. It's a pretty good team.
Jimmy's usually like he's one of those people, and I respect it because I typically do the same thing too. I don't go all in. Like I try to I'll go half in. Like that deal I made with you, like improved you with the Andahar and Bieber. Like you got prospects, and I got guys back that made my team better, but I didn't sell the bank to make the deal. I go like half in. Like I try and go for it, but I also don't want to ruin my next year because I love fantasy baseball so much. Jimmy's more like he jumps fully in, so I'll be interested to see one thing I'll be interested is does he end up dumping Corbin at some point in time soon?
Yeah.
At 5-3 for $25, like I could see Jimmy doing that. That's kind of the type of owner he is. He really goes all in for each year. I respect that. That's his style. He has faith in himself to be able to put together a great draft the following year or put together a great keeper thing. So that will be interesting to see. That's one thing I'll be looking for. I mean, at 13 too, and I don't know though. The one thing I don't know, I can pull it up real quick. I have my phone. Is like Soriano's getting screwed because Castillo is in his franchise spot and you can't move him. I don't know where Corbin is at for him. I thought Flaherty was his. Let's see here. 2021 keepers. So Jimmy's his franchise is Clevenger. So yeah, I mean Corbin is droppable for $25. So that'll be interesting. That's one thing I think I'd be looking out for and see what happens. But yeah, I like his team better this year or this month than I did the last one. Yep. Next up will be Soriano, 5-3 also. So Soriano has the second hardest schedule behind you, 19-13. He scored the 4th least points in the entire league, and he's had the second least points scored against him. So he actually has scored less than has been scored against him, and he's still 5-3. So, in his favorite sport, we would call that puck luck. That's a pretty alarming stat. That's crazy to be on the wrong side of a differential and be 5-3. All right, so let's see. I already mentioned that. So Kelly LeMahieu is bouncing back. I know he was way lower than that last time we did this, 5. Marwin Gonzalez, not sure why he's in there. Let's see. I have our box up. So he's got Marwin playing second. Is anybody on the bench that plays second that's better than that? No.
Nicky Lopez?
Yeah, I mean, but he's not.
He might not have been starting today though.
Maybe he moves Solak up and Harper would be taking Solak's spot.
Yeah, maybe.
So I mean, Baez hasn't done much in a little while. Let's see, Tatis is just killing it. Naylor. So this is another team I know. I remember we brought up the outfield. Like Naylor's
Yeah.
bad, Cooper's bad. Baum is just still has not turned it around. Mountcastle's been really bad. He was starting for him. Grandal, they played the Yankees last 2 weeks ago, and he's batting like 112 or something insane like
Yeah,
that.
he's bad.
Yeah,
He's
like
really
it's
bad.
insane. Has he gotten over 200 yet?
He's at 135.
Oh, jeez, that's just awful. So he's only gone up like
It's actually kind of crazy that he's still averaging 2.9 points a game
yeah,
with
yeah, it
batting
is crazy.
135
And
and having
only
a
6 home runs
340
and 18 RBIs. That is
and having a
crazy.
344 slugging percentage.
Yeah, that's unreal. So, yeah, so the bench leaves a lot to be desired, and there's a couple. It's not terrible. Offense is not terrible. There's like three players. Harper is a big loss, and Roberts a big loss. And Harper has been like not only has he just gone on the DL, but he's been like in and out for like a month now. So like that's just obnoxious too, where you're like you got to log on, take him in, put him out, take like obnoxious. So that's been a struggle. That's a pretty big loss. And 3-5 is a pretty shitty year for Harper. I mean, look, I'm not a Harper guy, so 3-5 to me is like that's a pretty good year for Harper. But statistically, on what you're expecting to him in a fantasy baseball, I mean, I guess if you're a Harper guy, 3-5 is pretty shitty. All right, let's see the rotation. He always yells at me about his pitching, so I'm guessing this is where he's hurting. So Castillo, like, I mean, I know we spoke on it in length last time. We can't. There's not really much to say. 9-1 is just like that he's got to be hurt, dude. It's like mind-boggling. I mean, for Soriano, really, at this point, you're praying that they just throw him on a DL.
Right. So you don't have to start. He doesn't have to start.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like it's insane, dude. Like that is insane. It's honestly
Wow.
that's so
7.2
bad.
ERA. I didn't realize he had a 7.2 ERA. Jeez.
So bad. He can't go past 5 innings. Like so bad. So yeah. So this rotation is like awful. So Castillo is terrible. Still don't know why he takes Tyler as early as he did, like 6th round or something. 16-6 pitchers, not ownable. Stroman like is lights out. Then he sucks. Bundy, as we laughed about how high he was ranked, and 13-3 is not ownable. Savall, another trade I'm probably going to lose out on. He's been good, but like Heaney, don't know why he drafted him early. McCallahan, I mean, it's not been great for a rookie. Perez, he just picked up 16-1. So losing Plesac, I guess hurts, but he's not ownable. Like this is so far. We have 4 teams to go. This is by far the worst rotation in the league. It's not even close. I mean,
nope, not even close.
You could hold Savali and actually dump the entire rest of the and probably Stroman. You could hold Savali and Stroman and dump everybody else on the entire thing.
Yep.
This is pretty bad.
Yep.
So I mean, that's it right there. I don't even. There's not really much more to say.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Mike's team having a lot of bad luck. This team has been having a lot of good luck. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever. This will be our 25th season of fantasy baseball, and for a little while we did total points, but really not for that long. I've never seen a differential where you're under on the good side and over on the bad side, and you still have a good record. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of puck luck for somebody like him.
Yep.
Next, Jimmy Soriano. All right, next, Bobby, 5-3. So Bobby has the easiest schedule in June, 13-19. He's got to capitalize. I know he keeps telling me he hates his team, but I mean, I gave it to him pretty bad this week, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has extra points too, I think, for pitching right now, because I like all my guys went twice. Another reason I lost to Jimmy, but anyway, let's see. He scored 1, 2, 3, the 4th most points again, like as I mentioned, and he's had the 3rd least points scored against them, so benefited there. And kind of like Soriano, he only has scored 62 more points than have been scored against him. So a little bit of luck here. I remember I said last month I was shocked that this team was scoring points. Let's see. Romuto, he just came off the DL, so I know Bobby's clearly struggling there. Muncy 5-3 is good. Candelaro's, I mean, been terrible. Albies, Hernandez, fine. Mercado, fine. Castro, I mean, Who else is it? JP Crawford? No. Yeah, I guess you can move Jerkinson up. Let's see. Mondesi has been good. Correa's been good. Benintendi's been Benintendi. The Mets rookie hasn't done shit yet. Yaz is, I mean, he's got to be better than 3-2. He's better than a 3-2 player. That stands out to me. Myers is not even really getting PT anymore, so I don't know if I'd own him. Frazier's been awful, also not really getting PT. What happened to JD? Do you know? I didn't know he got hurt.
This probably happened yesterday. Out of the lineup after fouling
Got
a
the ball
off his foot.
so he'll be
or
fine.
something.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having a resurging year, which I don't know, they're probably cheating again. So whatever. Crawford, Carantini, Higashioka, and ESO. I mean, this isn't terrible. There's a couple guys here. There's definitely another first baseman you could find, that's for sure. The first baseman are in surplus always. And third base I mentioned is third base and shortstop and second are just like ultra weak this year. Even the Lindors, who are supposed to be stars, are doing nothing.
Yep.
Brantley and Votto are huge. Robles probably helps him being on the DL. I thought JD Davis was going to have a huge year. To me, that's a big loss, especially at third, like 3-1. He expected him swinging. Yeah, so I don't know, man. That's a big loss. And then Brantley and Votto are huge losses. That takes away three of the guys we mentioned that shouldn't be playing. So I can see where he's getting the points now. Darvish has been awesome. He had a really bad start yesterday. So you take that away, he was probably at 27-ish. Nola's been good. Montas, I don't know. He's risked not having the year he has. He hasn't been the same since he got off the PEDs, to be honest. So that tells you he's one of the guys that's benefiting high from it. Julio's been really good. Erod's been that's a formidable number. Good for him on the comeback. Evaldi's been better than a lot of people thought he was going to be, and it's time to let him go. And Turnbull, I mean, he's not even ownable. That's a boosted number straight off of the perfect game. And then I mean he shut down the Yankees, which who hasn't? Kenta going on the DL probably helps him out. He's having a really bad year, but it's a keeper. So I mean, look, I'm okay with this team. I can see why he's 5-3. There's a couple things here. Like, does Evaldi keep going? Does Erod digress? Julio, I don't know. Does he Montas? So there's a couple things here I don't like, but I mean, for a 5-3 team, I'm okay with this team. Thoughts on this?
I mean, it's solid team, and he should probably do well again next month. I mean, I don't see why. There's really just only a couple of holes that are probably being hurt by these injuries, so I don't see why it should be an issue moving forward for him.
Especially 13 and 19. That means he probably played. That's 3. You're gonna have 3. That's 6. 7, 8. No, that's 8, 9. I don't know. So he plays one team that's going to be like 5-3, and then everybody else. And then he'll play the 3 worst teams in the league. So he should be able to continue to stay at the top of the standings, or at least break away from the 5-3 tie pack for sure.
Yep, I agree.
All right, O'Rourke next. Another 5-3 team. So O'Rourke has scored the third most points, 49.75, which, as we talked about how you and Mike are far and above getting the most points scored against you, me and Jorge are well above everybody else in points scored. Even O'Rourke, he's at 49. Then there's a massive drop off all the way down to 46. So I'm at 55. Jorge's at 51. O'Rourke's at 49, and there's a monster 350-point drop-off. So really I think the 3 teams that everyone said, myself, O'Rourke, and Jorge, I know I think O'Rourke, myself, and Jorge 1, 2, 3. I think you had some type of combination
Jorge, you, and O'Rourke.
Yeah, so I mean, are kind of doing the scoring. Let's see, he's had the 1, 2, 3, 4th least points scored against him. So he's still scoring a ton. So, I mean, O'Rourke had a ton of injuries. I think he definitely did a better job than I did weathering the storm. Like, I know his stars came off like 2 weeks after we did our thing. So he's had them for like 2 weeks or so. But like, this offense is pretty stacked. Like, Josh Rojas his worst offensive player, like Yelich, is going to turn it around. So he has one guy at the entire offensive end that's under 3. That's unreal.
Yeah.
And then he's got a bunch of guys on the bench like Mancini, who is a 4. He's got McKinnon 3-6, 3-4. So he's Rough Snyder is playing like every now and then, but still. So he's got and then he's got bench guys that are over 3. So Anderson, don't really care about him being on the DL. Sinzal, yeah. So I mean, look, Ork weathered the storm. He stayed at 5-3 with Soto gone, with Yelich gone. Acuna was hurt for a little bit there. So I mean, look, all those guys are back now, and he was able to go 5-3 without them, or whatever. Let's say 3-3 without them, whatever he was. So 2-2 without them. Let me see his rotation. I know his rotation is pretty loaded, like Glass now, huge year. Burns, Bauer's awesome. Snell has been terrible. He was awful again today.
He got shelled again today.
Yeah, I saw he had like -1 when I was doing the head-to-head schedule against O'Rourke. So Bueller is good. Montgomery, I don't know, man. He has a start. He strikes out like 8 or 9, and then he gets shelled. This kid is Alec he's from WVU. I saw him in the College World Series 2 years ago in regionals. So he's decent, but I don't think he's going to throw for 30 again. And Kaplan, I thought about picking him up a ton of times, but he throws like he will digress. This 24 will be down. He throws way too many pitches in the zone, but I'm guessing he's replacing McCullers, who went on the DL out of nowhere. I have him in the other league. Like he was literally supposed to start, and then all of a sudden they put him on the DL before a start. Like super weird. So look, this team is just loaded. I don't know. I thought they were going to be loaded in the beginning, but there's definitely a couple things here. Like I don't like James. I don't like Montgomery in a playoff run. Snell, he's got to decide what to do with him. I don't know his setup. Bueller, I'm thinking, is the prospect. Snell might be the franchise guy, so he might be screwed there. But I mean, the team's loaded. Pause.
Yeah, I mean, the only hole that you can really see in this team is maybe back end starters, so back 2 starters, and the fact that Yelich isn't being Yelich. That's really like his 3 problems, or 2 problems, I should say. So those are problems that are easily fixable. You have to think that Snell isn't going to be as bad as he's been. It's just so funny. Whenever the Rays make a trade, it always seems like the guy that they trade away, who's like a star, always ends up like just his career takes like a turn for the worst.
Yeah.
So Snell's just another example of that, where it's just so weird how that happens, where every time the Rays make a trade, you look at it and you're like, what the hell are they doing? And then it's like, okay, now make note of it. I never want to make a trade with the Rays because they know something's going on. There's something going on there that you just don't know, but it's something. But yeah, I mean, look, it's just back end starters and Yelich. Those are really his issues.
Yeah. All right. Jorge will be the last 5-3 team. He has, as I just mentioned, the second most points scored in the league. 51, 48, 200, just a little less than 200 over O'Rourke. And then there's a 600 point cushion from him to the guy in 4th, which is crazy. With that being said, he has by far the least points scored against him in the entire league. So while he is putting up points, he's definitely put up the second most points. Nobody is doing anything versus him. Like McIndoe scoring 402 that's atrocious. So a little bit lucky on the end of not really having to fight off opponents or worry about kind of wins because, but he is putting up a ton of points. Let's see. Sosa, never even heard of this guy, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe he's a rookie. Gio is, nobody in the Yankees team has done really anything. And Gurriel, I can't stand. But this is kind of like Ork's offense. There's 2 guys. Shella has 1 game where he has 2 hits and he's over 3. So he's really got 1 guy, whoever this Sosa guy is, and this whole entire offense that's not really ownable. And Gurriel, but you could put Blackman in, could put Tyler O'Neill in, who just came off the IL.
Yeah.
So he's got guys. I
think O'Neill's actually hit home runs in 3 straight games now since coming
off
the IL.
He probably
should. Maybe he
put him
wasn't
back
starting
in
today, but
yeah.
But
Yeah, so I mean, yep. So another offense that's just completely loaded, which is what you need. You need to have a 3-0. So show me the staff. I know I hate the staff. So oh wow,
oh, and he has Trout on the EL. Yeah.
Trout on the DL, Rojas on the DL, and just went on yesterday. That's a big
Yeah.
loss. Nico has been so good when he's playing, but this is his second or third. This is second or third stint on the DL this year already. So like that's
Yeah, I think it's his second. I think he was just on for an extended time the first time, but yeah,
okay.
it's his second.
Okay. Yeah. So like just this is annoying. So Cole's been dominant. Giolito, he was lower than this when we first looked and we talked about it. So I guess
Yeah.
he's been a little bit better.
Yep.
Gossman, I just still don't get it. Like again, Bassett throws a complete game shutout the other day. I just don't get it. Manaya's starting to digress. He was at 26 when we talked about it. Here's another perfect example of a guy who's never been a 26 pitcher in his career. He's not going to be a top 10 pitcher ever in fantasy baseball. Should have sold high on him. He's all the way down at 29. Just pull up his thing. That means he had to have a terrible month, right? I mean, to drop on average 6 points, 16,
Yeah, -7.
-7.
Yeah.
So since we did our show last time, I mean,
Yeah.
he's not a 26-point pitcher. I mean, and 20's fine, but like this is kind of what I was talking about. Here's another guy who I think was like top 20 in our evaluation sheet. If you buy high on Minaya or you sell him, you're talking about like a second round draft pick or a player worthy of a first, second, or third round. Like, I don't know. I would do things with guys like you knew were going to drop. If I had the Matthew Boyds, the Sean Manais, the Kyle Gibsons that are having these elite years that are not going to carry on.
Yeah.
Javier's digressed a little bit. I know we talked about him in the last show. Cease. Funny thing about Cease is that Jorge actually dropped him as his prospect keeper before the season, then goes and picks him up, and he's having a good year. He threw against the Yanks the other day. He has really, really good stuff. It's just a matter of him, control and harnessing it. Like, he didn't throw well again. That was really one inning though. He was mowing through the Yanks, and he had
he was.
Yeah. But it's just funny that he ends up picking him. Casey Mize has literally turned his whole season around. My dad dropped him. I think he was averaging 7, and I actually picked him up in my other league too to replace McCullers Jr. going to DL. He's having a massive month. Like, look at that. 19, 24, 9, 32, 4. And he was what's his name? Somebody made an error in that game and that knocked Mize out of the game against the Yanks yesterday. And so like he ended up having bases loaded. And I hate that's my biggest pet peeve against coaches is somebody commits an error in the field that ends up loading the bases and they go pull the pitcher like it's his fault. Like, come on. But anyway, that's an unreal month. 17, 24, 32, 24. It sucks my dad dropped him when he was literally, he had like, I think he was averaging 7.9 to start. So it's like, you can't hold a guy like that after a whole month. And then he's turned it around. So that's another good pickup. Carrasco pushed back. I saw Uraquidy. I mean, I don't even know. Is there anyone he replaces here? I mean, I would probably drop Manaea for Uraquidy, but he's going to start Monday. So that'll be interesting to see what he does there. But I mean, I don't know. I still I am not, if I had Gossman, Bassett, Manaea, Javier, I'm not confident going into the playoffs. I'm just not. And I know I say that every month and I feel bad putting down Jorge's team, but that's just, I don't know, man. I can't rely on 6 of my 8 starters being guys that are unproven and having their first season as an over 25-point pitcher ever. I don't know. I know you feel differently about it, but I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, I don't really
I can't. There's someone has to tell me how you're going to statistically think. Not you. I'm just saying how someone statistically thinks that Kevin Gossman's going to be the 6th best fantasy pitcher in all of baseball this year. Come on.
I mean, he had a great year last year too. He's just continuing it.
Yeah, but the 6th best fantasy pitcher in the whole league, man. It's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, it's a pretty big sample size at this point. It's not like it's a 5-game
No,
stretch.
you're right. Yeah, it is. San Francisco has been
a 35 to 40 start stretch where he's been that good. So yeah, maybe he just needed to get out of. I mean, he was always kind of heralded as a guy that was going to be really good. The Orioles thought really highly of him, and he didn't work out there. That's ultimately that happens sometimes. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery, and it looks like he got the change of scenery he needed. I mean, he went to a pitcher's park, that's for sure. Whereas Camden Yards is definitely a hitter's park. So maybe from that standpoint, he benefited a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty large sample size with him now where he's just been a really, really solid starter. And yeah, maybe he's not the 6th best or 10th best, but he's a top 20 guy. Giolito, he's going to get better. Manaea is going to fall off probably a little bit more. Javier, he's rookie, second year. I don't know what his status is after his last season, but he's probably going to end up being a little bit better than he is here. Cease, like we said, has really good stuff. Casey Mize, I mean, he was the number one pick a couple of years ago. They've thought of him very highly. So the fact that he's sort of getting used to a major league, a major league grind is probably showing now. Like he's actually, much more in tune with facing major league hitters, understanding the whole schedule, the whole keeping your body right, and things like that. So yeah, I think he's sort of showing what his whole potential, what everyone thought that he was going to be here. And I don't see why he can't just keep getting better. So yeah, I don't know. I really like this team. Yeah, Chris Bryant's having sort of an MVP type-ish conversation here. I was really mad that I went to pick up Ji-Man Choi and he got picked up like a couple hours before I went to pick him up. So kind of mad from my standpoint there. He's come back. He's been raking. Abreu reigning MVP, kind of continuing that. Like you said, I think the real only guy in here that you would say maybe shouldn't be starting or whatever is this guy Sosa. So yeah, and then I mean he's got to withstand Trout on the DL where it's a calf issue, so that's one of those things that just doesn't go away quickly. They said 4 to 6 weeks, but I could see that easily creeping up to 8 to 10 weeks. Look, Mike Trout's not old, but a calf is, I think he's 30. So one of those injuries that as you start getting older, those muscle lower leg type injuries start occurring more frequently. So I think they'd probably be smart to, especially another season where the Angels suck and they're not going to the playoffs. There's really no reason for Mike Trout to come back on the early end of that schedule. Keep him out for that 10 to 12 weeks. Make sure that he's fully healthy and make sure that the first time he tries to push off, leaving the box, that it doesn't pop on him again and then he's done for the year. And then maybe that starts creeping into next season where, you have to be ginger with him in the off season. He doesn't get his reps in the preseason and then, he starts off really slowly and things like that. I'd be really cautious with him, being as though he's starting to hit that age of 30. Look, Mike Trout's never going to be out of his prime probably until he's 35 with the way that he's going. But you don't want to hurt any of those, the next 5 years where he's still going to be a top. If he's not the best player in baseball, he's going to be a top 5 to 10 player in baseball for the next 5 years very easily. So no reason to really hurt that status in a season where, again, you're going nowhere. So that would be my suggestion for the Angels with that. But
it's unfortunate they're literally going to let his whole career go by and not have one productive season with him.
Yep, absolutely.
It's really unbelievable. I mean, but anyway, all right. Last up, myself. We'll close it out here. I just it's plain and simple. I wasn't able to really weather the storm. I went 2-2. Yes, I lost to a no-hitter, but I really struggled against Jimmy. My team is just really, really banged up, man, and I just don't. It's just banged up, and I'm just like trying to fill the pieces. I feel like every day I go on, there's another guy. Let's see. Contreras has really digressed. Josh Bell's is usually my DH. Pavin Smith's usually my starting center fielder. Marigold Harrison's been good. Seager has just been terrible. He did nothing in the month of May. Escobar has really digressed also. Wendell's been consistent. Crawford has been a really surprise. I picked him up. He was like at 2.9. He's up to 3.8. Verdugo has been hurt really for the last 2 weeks. He sits 2 or 3 games, comes back, sits another one. Mullins has digressed a little bit, but 3.8 still good. Merrifield's been great. Marte, I just got back on Tuesday or Wednesday. Lariano's been on and off since I got him from you. Enrique Hernandez came off the DL on Tuesday. Ty France came off the DL on Tuesday. Rizzo looks like he's going on the DL. Santander came off the DL on Monday. Goodrum, I just need a backup shortstop at this point. Same thing with Rosario. William Contreras, my backup. Didi's on the DL. Gresham is on the DL. McNeil, Moran. These are all starters for me. Massive losses. And I haven't been able to find guys to weather the storm really. DeGrom had 1 start. They only let him throw 5. So I've only got him back 1 time in the last 3 weeks. Duffy, I know it's it's only Danny Duffy, but he was averaging 23.7 for me. Walker just came off the DL to start Saturday. So I just like plain and simple, man. I mean, my team is solid, but I'm really hurting right now. So I mean, I'd rather it happen now than later on. But um, I don't know. Some of these guys, like most of these guys, are my keepers, so I don't really have much to do with them. McNeil, Santander, like I can't really move them unless I want to pay money. Didi, he keeps getting pushed back. Gresham, this is his second stint on. He started the season on the DL for probably a month or so, 3 weeks at least. I'd say 3 weeks, and then comes back for 2 or 3 weeks, plays awesome, and then he's back on like 4-0 players, massive to lose. Moran was fucking awesome for me, man. 4-2 player. So I don't know. That's really where my team's at. I couldn't weather the storm against Jimmy at all. I think I put up by far like 120 points of my least, and then I came back and my pitching staff was like unreal against Mike. I had like 2 or 3 complete game shutouts, and I don't know, but I don't know, man. A lot of my offense is digressing a little bit. I tried to sell high and get some people involved with like Seager. He's just a 3-0 player. That's it. Like Josh Harrison, how much longer is he going to be there? But I don't know. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm always trying to wheel and deal. I probably don't even need a shortstop anymore. I really need a third baseman. Probably need one second baseman. But we'll see. I'm just trying to weather the storm now. Like I said, like Rizzo and whatchamacallit were fine until like Friday, and now Gurriel too. He's got a finger injury, so Gurriel and Rizzo. I finally get some guys back. I got Santander back. I got Marte back and France back and Enrique back all last week. And then by the end of the week, I get Rizzo, Gurriel, and Mariano hurt. So every time I get 2 or 3 back, I lose 2 or 3. So we'll see. But I definitely probably, I would say in the league, I've done the worst job of managing and success with my injuries. So that's kind of my take on my team. And Oz?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you start off 4-0 and then you could say, oh, well, I didn't do a good job and I went 2-2 next. So you're still 6-2. And I don't see why, your team is going to ever struggle. You do have pieces to fill in where there are injuries. And then also your team is just really good. So your rotation is great. I mean, Wheeler's having an unbelievable season. It was a great trade by you in the offseason. Yeah. DeGrom obviously is DeGrom. Scherzer's picked it back up again. He had a couple of rough starts to begin, but it's back to being Scherzer. Peralta's been really good. Ryu, we spoke about already with the trade. Taiwan Walker's actually been really, really good. Yeah, and then I mean Duffy going on the DL, so when he comes back, he'll probably just replace Alcantara here. And yeah, everyone's averaging 22-ish at worst. Yeah, it's the best rotation in baseball in our league, and it's probably damn near close to the best hitting lineup in the league. So yeah, once you get a couple of these guys back on the DL from the DL, you'll be absolutely fine. So not really much more to say.
Yeah. All right, that will close out our May recap. We'll be back next month, June. Things will be a little bit more solidified. We'll be 4 weeks out of the trade deadline. So hopefully there'll be some activity. And then the show after that will be on trade deadline day. So that should be actually exciting. Maybe we'll get like multiple guys on and some things will get dealt while we're live on the show. That'd be pretty sweet. So we'll figure that out. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on, taking out Memorial Day weekend. Tomorrow is supposed to be 72 and sunny. So maybe I'm going to try and get the kids outside and hopefully I'll be end the weekend the right way.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's been raining like crazy the entire weekend so far. So maybe we can actually enjoy it outside for one day.
All right. Uncut Sports Crew signing off.
All right. Talk to you later, bro.